Micheal Penix Jr. was born in Dade City, Florida, population 7,275, to parents Takesha and Micheal Penix Sr., both athletes at Tennessee Tech in the 90s. Micheal led a 2-year varsity football for Tampa Bay Tech High School. In those 2 years, he put up 4,243 yards, 61 touchdowns, and only 6 interceptions. So you can see even in high school, he was an accurate quarterback. Based off all recruiting websites, he was a 3-star recruit, and he signed to play for the University of Indiana out of high school. In 2018, Micheal Penix, freshman year, he mainly served as the reserve or backup. He actually began to push for more playing time before the injury with 2 impressive showings in a limited role at the start of the season. In week 3, he had his most attempts, going 9 for 19 for 94 yards in the game against number 16 Penn State. In an unbelievable overtime game, Penix scrambled to the end zone for the win, tearing his ACL in the process. For the season, Micheal completed 21 of 34 passes for 219 yards and a touchdown. During this season, I feel like one of the most important things for Micheal Penix's young career happened. He had a teammate by the name of Jayshawn Harris. If you've never heard of Jayshawn, you should definitely look up his story. He has a great story of going through adversity. Coach Tom Allen is quoted by the Indy Star. Had a great talk with him yesterday, and I know he's hurting and discouraged and down, but it's just one of those things you got to deal with. He has a great mentor in Jayshawn Harris to help him get through. Harris tore his knee up 3 times in his IU career, but has returned to be an integral part of the Hoosiers. In 2019, Micheal was named the starter, but was injury-plagued throughout the season. He never played in 2 full games back-to-back that whole season. The final injury came against Northwestern in another scramble near the goal line late in the second quarter. It was announced that Penix had injured his sternoclavicular joint and would miss the remainder of the season. He finished the year completing 110 of 160 passes, 68.8%, for 1,394 yards and 10 touchdowns, only 4 interceptions. Penix had been one of the best quarterbacks in the country before the injury, being named to the Pro Football Focus weekly top 10 ranking multiple times that season. Coach Tom Allen was quoted, "We feel really bad for Mike. He worked extremely hard and had a great season. He'll recover from this and get bigger and stronger this offseason. Mike has a very bright future with the Hoosiers." At the start of the 2020 season, Micheal lit it up, starting out strong, beating Penn State, Michigan, and Michigan State, leading the Hoosiers to a 4-1 record. He passed for a career-high 491 yards and 5 touchdowns in their only loss to the number 4 Ohio State Buckeyes. He had Indiana ranked number 12 nationally before the injury. Penix had 1,645 passing yards and 14 touchdowns with 4 interceptions on the season, leading the Big Ten, and also rushed for 2 touchdowns. It was announced that Penix had torn his ACL again in the same leg against Maryland the week after. This capped the end of what was the start of a Heisman-worthy season. Head football coach Tom Allen was quoted, "You basically fall back on what you believe in. You fall back on your faith. You fall back on all the people that care the most about you. You battle, you fight, you don't back down." Remember that mentor with the 3 knee injuries? Well, by this time, he had 4, thanks to a brief stint in the XFL. In 2021, Jayshawn is quoted saying, "As someone who lived through 4 knee injuries, 2 on each leg, Harris had a different outlook at the situation. Being on the other side of it, going through it, I'm thinking all he has to do is bounce back, and he'll be fine. He'll bounce back." 2021 was a shortened season due to COVID and was statistically Micheal Penix Jr.'s worst season at Indiana. Micheal threw for 939 yards, 4 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, only completing 53% of his passes. Penix Jr. recently did an interview where he quoted, "The 2021 season was real hard for me," Penix said. "A lot of people didn't know I was coming back from my second ACL tear, and the Monday of the week of the first game, I got a phone call from the doctor that did my surgery, and he's like, 'Hey, you're not cleared yet for me, but if you want to play, then you can play.'" He was injured in week 5 against Penn State, marking the end of his Indiana career. Micheal never played in more than 6 games in any season with Indiana University. At this point, most people would be depressed and down on themselves, but not Micheal. In search of a fresh start, Micheal decided to team up with his freshman year offensive coordinator, Kalen DeBoer, who had been coaching as a head coach for Fresno the last 2 years and was just hired on as Washington head coach. In 2022, Micheal Penix Jr. led the Huskies to a 10-2 record in a victory over Texas in the Valero Alamo Bowl. He also won Comeback Player of the Year. In 2023, Penix set the college football world on fire by making history, leading the Huskies to an undefeated record, ranked number 2 in the nation, and becoming the first University of Washington quarterback to be named to the Heisman finalist list. He also won All-American, Pac-12 Champion MVP, the Maxwell Award. Micheal finally had the Heisman caliber season that his mom tweeted about his redshirt freshman year. Unfortunately, Micheal wound up finishing second in Heisman votes behind Jaden Daniels, but Micheal has the opportunity to lead Washington to their first national championship in the college football playoff era and their third national championship since 1960 and 1991. Micheal Penix Jr. was recently quoted saying, "I wouldn't change my journey for anything. I know that might sound crazy because of what I've been through."
Penix has time, launches, touchdown! Jalen McMillan shows some pressure. They do rush 5. McCarthy on the move. He eludes the pressure, but is not going to get away. Launching downfield, Odunze's wide open. A bust. And this time the play will stand. He's inside the Michigan 30. Are the champions of college football 2023.